Good afternoon. Today I will be talking about tips for visiting someone in the hospital. These are all personal experiences. I was in the hospital for about a month, 2 years ago, almost 3, and it was like a second home to me. And so with that experience, I was able to kind of see some of the ins and outs, and I would love to share these tips with you. I think they'll be helpful for anyone who's in the hospital or the people that are visiting. I know it really helped me a great deal while I was there. I have also made an infograph just so you have this written down, kind of something to remember. And I will put that on my Pinterest page, and I'll have a link just below the video. And also please subscribe to my page or channel and like the video if you like it, and please leave comments or anything else. Feedback would be great. Hopefully positive. I'm really trying to learn, and I really hope that this can help you. Let's all work in this together, and best of luck when you're visiting someone in the hospital, and best of luck to them also. I hope this helps. The first section I want to address is personal hygiene and pampering. When you go there, a lot of times in the hospital, they'll give you some basic, it's like a shampoo conditioner mix. It's really kind of dry for your hair, and sometimes you can shower at the hospital depending on what kind of room you have and how long you'll be there. I know I did have a bathroom, and I was able to shower, I think, once or twice a week or two. I can't recall. It was just a big metal, but the thing is, I was able to. And your hair does get dirty, and you do want to wash your hair, but if you have hair like mine, you distinctly need conditioner. So I recommend bringing some shampoo and conditioner, unscented lotion, and possibly a new hairbrush. I had a raggedy old hairbrush, and my sister came to visit me, and she was astonished, and she's like, no, I'm bringing you a new one. And you know what, that was a great idea. Not only do you want to keep the hospital as clean as possible, where you're there, just keep it all clean. It's something fresh and new, and it's just a hairbrush. So if you can bring that to the person, they will feel really happy. A light robe, that was wonderful. They give you the hospital gowns, right? And when I have to get up and I walk out of my bed and I've got my back totally open for everyone, dignity is lost. So having that bathrobe was awesome. Another thing is I was given a lot of, the socks with the treads on them. Now, mind you, I wasn't really able to walk around a lot, but when I did, I would wear those, or even in the bed. But sometimes you don't want to wear what's on the floor and put it back in your bed with you, right? So I would suggest getting them possibly a disposable pair of slippers that have the hard soles on them. I know you can get those on Amazon. I've gotten them before. Those were great, and that way they can kind of walk around on the floor, and then if you want, you can chuck those things, because hospital floors are not known to be, disgusting, but they're sure not like super clean either. You gotta, So anyhow, some hard-soled slippers. Also, to pamper them. My sister came to visit me. We had a deal, and I told her, if I'm ever on my deathbed, in the hospital, incapacitated in any way, you are my designated plucker. And I think most women will get this. You got a mustache, you got a beard, you got all that. You got some strays in your eyebrows or whatever you've got. It's the very well-known secret, like everyone does it, right? But it's something you don't always talk about. So designate yourself a plucker. My sister did her job. She flew from Utah to California to come over and do some plucking. She was amazing. She also brushed my hair, got me the new brush, and she straightened my hair. And you know what? I felt so clean and like I had done something. And after a while in the hospital bed, yeah, you have a lot of concerns physically, but sometimes it feels good just to kind of get dressed. So that's another thing. Designate a plucker if you don't already have one. If you are the visitor and you are the designated plucker, do your job. Pretty awesome. And another thing is straighten their hair. Do something nice. make them feel a little bit better, clean up the hair. I had like a big old knot of hair because of laying on the bed for so much. Just one of those things. Another thing is, if allowed, a lot of these things are definitely, you know, per person. I wasn't allowed a lot of back rubs or anything hard, but they were able to do a little bit of hand massage with a little bit of lotion, rub my head a little. It was so nice. Just give them a little massage, make them feel warm and comforted. And that was the best of my pampering. I loved it. And those are things that I would suggest for a little bit of hygiene and pampering while someone is in the hospital. I'm going to add a few pictures so you can see before and afters and whatnot there too. The second section here is comforts of home. That is important. I think that when you're essentially displaced, you want to know how things are at home. You want to know that they are okay. And a lot of times, I know for me, I was caught off guard. I wasn't expecting to be admitted to the hospital. You don't expect those. I mean, I had an entire plan for the day and all these things I wanted to do, and then all of a sudden they're like, you're going to the hospital. And I'm like, well, when do I get out? You know, not, thinking like, okay, what is this, like 2 hours or something? And they're like, no, it's pretty much indefinite. And all of a sudden you're like, I have laundry, I have dishes, I have a house clean, I have all these things, right? But you can't always do that. So one thing is just knowing that your home is safe and sound and taken care of. Pictures, maybe if someone has a pet, take a picture of their pet. Things that they're not able to take care of at home, you know, take pictures of those, send them in. Also of loved ones, things like that. So bring something from home to the hospital that they can see and feel like, oh, okay, things are going to be okay. Another thing, if you're visiting the room and you bring them something, on a side note, I wouldn't recommend too many like stuffed animals or all the craziness, because that's a lot of stuff to put in a room that you're really not supposed to be totally living in, but you are. Although, I mean, there's doctors and nurses and everyone that comes in and out, and there's a lot of germs, all those things. So kind of keep that at a minimum. You know, I was given this adorable giraffe and actually a little teddy bear later, but I loved that thing and I slept with it and it was good. It was one, and that was perfect for me. So the thing is if you go into their room and you see that they have flowers, which are wonderful, and cards and balloons and this and that, maybe go in and kind of sort it and decorate it, the room, so it's still a hospital room, but it's something that they can say, oh, that was so sweet of them to send me those flowers, that was wonderful. And the person's mainly laying down, so maybe you could just kind of put it in their, you know, their line of view. I can't think of the word right now, but anyway, just put it there. That way it'll be a lot better for them. Also, if the person wasn't planning on going to the hospital, I'm sure that they don't have a lot of things that they needed. Electronics, cords, things like that. Some of those, like iPad cords, the covers, even the little plug things, whatever, those things are actually important. Maybe papers they were working on, something like that. Maybe a backpack with some of that stuff would be great. On top of that, they will possibly accumulate papers there. I know I was actually given some cards there, and and on top of that, I had appointments while I was in the hospital, and they'd print out and give me another paper and another paper, and it was like stacking up. And so, you know, luckily my sister thought of a lot of amazing things, and she was able to put it in my backpack, you know, the paperwork, the cards, all those wonderful things, so I had them when I got home. Another thing is, a lot of times when you're in the hospital, you might be completely drugged out, which I was, right? And so that is something to be aware of. I can't say that I remember everything. I couldn't say when I received some of these cards or things that had happened. it's life, but I don't recall a lot of things. And suddenly I have this paper, I'm like, oh, okay, you know? So it's just one of those things you want to be aware of. You know, maybe that person's not 100%, but they will appreciate having this information later. So maybe, you know, help them out with that. Um, those are some of the things. The comforts of home, bring them things from home, decorate, you know, try and do minimal, respecting that it is a hospital, and also bring a bag and maybe an envelope or something so they can sort, so they can bring the things back to their own home. That is a way to help them out in many ways. Peace of mind. Okay. The third section that I'd like to review is during your visit there. I think it's important for you to listen, and not just listen like normal, but this person has probably been injected with all sorts of stuff, has all these medicines, has all these beeping machines. I mean, I think I got so little sleep at the hospital. They say you need all this rest and you sleep, sleep, sleep. And really, beeping all night. If you're not beeping and you have a roommate, they're beeping and you're panicked. Are they okay? And you can't do a thing because you're in your bed. And it's like crazy. And then I was on a special diet. I had to eat at certain times. And I'd have to wake up just to have this huge meal. And you're just so overwhelmed. And you have all these things going. And you don't even know where to go. And then someone comes in and you're like, blah, 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 blah. You just have to talk about it. Just listen to that person because they probably have all these things going on, so little sleep, just a whole new life, and they might just need to talk. Also, if that person is sleeping, use your best judgment. Maybe that is the only sleep that they're having. Honestly, I mean, it's hard to sleep at the hospital. I don't know. I know, so I had been admitted 2 separate times, and I remember the first night on both times, luckily I knew by the second, you know, but I was on the hard metal bed, and it was awful. I mean, it was like no sleep. You're just cramped up and in pain, and then I'm always like relieved when they put you in a regular bed. But I tell you, that is some rough sleep, and you're scared. You hear all these noises, every single thing. So, you know, make sure you're thinking it through if you want to wake them up or not. Everyone, you know, has their own thing. To me, there are days I would rather just sleep all day than talk to anyone. Love them still, desperately needed sleep. They also probably have new health challenges, new health information. They probably have a lot of gossip about the nurses and doctors. You would not believe the stuff you hear. And it's funny, but like people are working there and you hear the nurses. So, I mean, you have a whole new, I guess, perspective on the hospital. So listen to the person. Sometimes when they're there, they don't want to talk about the hospital. You don't want to talk about your illness. You don't want to talk about, you're over it, And maybe you want to hear about the neighbor's dog, or you want to hear how the flowers are blooming, or anything other than the hospital or being sick or anything health-wise. So gauge how the person's feeling, but keep that in mind. You know, maybe have a topic when you go there of something else other than being sick or whatnot. I know that I was on restricted exercise. In fact, all my muscles had atrophied, so it was very difficult for me to do pretty much anything. So I think I had 2 times a day I could do 10 of these. And that was pretty, like, I think maybe there was a couple other things, but they're in that same category, and that was my exercise for the day. So it was kind of fun when my sister was there. She did a little exercise with me, so it was nice, and just share, participate in that. Also, I wasn't allowed to walk, but if I could, you know, talk to certain nurses or whatever, I could get a walk, which was in the wheelchair, and someone could push me around, and even if it were down the hall, or they actually had a beautiful fountain and I was able to go outside. Sometimes, you know, you have time restrictions, you have how far they can take you, all of that. But if they can go for a walk, take them for a walk. And total thing I just thought of, okay, I was not used to being in a wheelchair before that. And I'll tell you, it's a whole different perspective, okay? You're seeing things at a very different level, right? And all of a sudden, you're not in control of walking or not, or when you stop or when you go. And it can get a little like dizzying. And also, if you are pushing that wheelchair, please don't run into stuff. It is scary enough. And this person's putting their trust in you. I cannot tell you how many times I was bumped into stuff, or the elevator. I mean, all this stuff is scary, especially in a wheelchair, and it's different. So if you're the pusher of the wheelchair, calm and collected, please go, because it's a scary experience. But take them out for that walk. And, you know, it's a huge thing just to get outside. I remember I just used to stare outside thinking, oh my God, look at those, look at the leaves, look at the sun, look at the clouds, and you're just dying to get out. So that's a huge one. Also, I suggest being entertained by their gear or their new things. I know I had these leg pumpers on, and apparently a lot of people complained about them, didn't like them. I loved them, and if I could ever afford them, which not happening, I would totally get them. They were these things on your legs, and they squeeze it to keep your blood flow or whatever. I had to, it was a 24-hour thing for me. I had to keep them on unless I was out or whatever, but then I had to come right back on. Those things were heaven. I loved them. It just felt really good. I got new, like the disposable underwear they gave you, and that's crazy comfortable. It's very unattractive, so comfortable. So that's my new gear. You get all sorts of new cool things. You got a new machine over here beeping for this or that. You know, take interest in that. It's neat. Have some food with them. If they're on a restricted diet, of course, only go with what they can at the hospital and let them eat theirs, and then maybe you order one. That's what we did in mine. I was definitely restricted, and they were able to order from my room. You had to buy vouchers beforehand, so we went and bought a bunch of vouchers. Then they came in, ordered it, and we all ate together, which is awesome. If they can have something from home, I know a lot of people really enjoyed that. So double check on that one first. And take pictures of the hospital when this person can't. I mean, it was my home for a month, right? And the cool thing is I got to have different pictures of things. And I couldn't always get out and just go take them, you know, or take pictures of the person. My sister has some doozies of me. And you know what? I'm glad. I'm very grateful, because I know it was an extremely rough time for me. And she got me in some miserable looking situations. Or actually, my husband got me in a really sweet one where I was sleeping. And those are really cool, because I didn't know that they existed, but it was nice to be able to reflect back on that time. This is actually in a different section. It's the extra section, but I have to say, I did have all my muscles had pretty much atrophied. I was still in the wheelchair. I had my baby, and I still couldn't really do much. I couldn't get up, right? And so I wasn't able to see. I was able to, they wheeled the bed in right after I had him, and then after that I was back in the room, and I don't know when I was actually able to get out again, but my sister went in and did two amazing things for me. She went in and they took pictures of my son and were able to show me, which was huge. I mean, it was, I mean, obviously no flash, all of that, but like when you can't see your baby, it's a rough one. So they took pictures, and this almost makes me cry. My sister went in and she sang happy birthday to my son, and it means the world to me. It'll always mean the world to me. And anyway, if you can, and if it's something that means something to someone, do it. I mean, to me, that was so precious, and I loved it, and I'm so grateful for that. So do things that they can't, if, you know, if that's the situation. Suggestions for when you are or are not there, things that you can bring for someone who's in the hospital. These would be time fillers. So markers, coloring books, a journal, and a magazine. The reason why I say magazine, not a book, it could be a book depending on the person. I know that I was interrupted constantly, and so it would be hard to read a book and get back into it, or like get the frustration. because you're constantly getting interrupted by something, or you're in a very, constricted situation. So magazines are great, quick articles, fun, and there's, so many different things you can read about, and that was really nice. Also, crafts. I know that they had, while I was there, they had different people bring around different crafts you could do. Also, there was painting, decoupage, and one thing I did a lot for myself, just to kind of do this meditation thing. It wasn't just the coloring, because that was kind of a mess on my bed and my iPad. And you'd think that I reached out to a lot of people during this time, but I didn't. It was just kind of a personal time. So for my own little meditation, but to keep myself busy, I did so many puzzles. And there is an app, and sorry, I can't recall, so you'd have to look for one. But the app I had was just how to do puzzles on your iPad. And it was so nice. It was relaxing. It was a slight challenge, but it kept me like, distracted. And I know I paid for it. I ended up paying like for that extra thing. I don't know what it was. It was worth it though. It was complete entertainment while it was there, a little bit of meditation, and just everything not hospital was in that. So that was wonderful. I think for any other time fillers, it would be a personal thing, whatever they like. These things were very basic and actually not overwhelming. I think having too much or too many things that you'd have to situate on a bed can be a little too much. So that's why I kept this short and simple for you. Okay, so for the last two sections here, I have run errands and take care of their home. So, for instance, my mom and my sister came and saw me, and they stayed with us for a little while. Again, I was in the hospital, and they would go back to my house, and before I got admitted to the hospital, we were so overwhelmed, and I was already on bed rest, and things, before I had gotten admitted, I had had so many doctor appointments every single day, just multiple ones. I had no time, I had no energy, and we had no laundry, like no clean laundry, I should say. And so what happened is we got pretty desperate, and we had to go and buy underwear from the store because I just couldn't get to it. So to me, that is really important. If you go to someone's house and they were not expecting to be admitted, or or just need that extra helping hand, go do their laundry. If they're okay with that, do it. Laundry, dishes, cleaning that house. That was huge, and I'm very grateful for that because I just couldn't do it. Another thing is, if this person is going to go home and they need a new setup, I know we had to get me kind of like a cot for recovery, and like I got a cane. It was kind of cute. I named it Sugar, so sugar cane. Anyhow, and I got the 4-prong one, which is really cool if you ever have to get it. That one was good. And I liked that I already had these things available and ready for me. So when I could go home, number one, I had to have the cane to walk in, and then just having that cot, having those things set up for you and done, that was huge. Just take care of the things that they have. This reminds me, on a quick side note, another thing is, after a C-section, I don't know if people are told about this. I know that they said after I was in dire pain the first couple times, take a pillow and hold it to you while you're in the car. That was huge, and I recommend that. Side thing, just kind of hold it in. Anyhow, so another thing is, if you are at home and you're not able to visit the person in the hospital, but you're still supporting, I have some amazing best friends in the world and family and all of that. They sent me funny jokes, memes, tons of memes, inspiring quotes. I got pictures from home. I got to hear about their lives, which is awesome. I needed that, right? And one really cool thing is, I was having my baby, and it was, on again, off again, should we not say anything to people? And so we did tell, some people who knew that I was having a baby, and it was a very scary time, but my friends planned an online baby shower for me. I loved it. It was so sweet. This is terrible. I don't remember everything because it was a situation in my life. I feel terrible admitting it, but I have to tell you, I do know that it happened, and I do love that they did it, and I am extremely, extremely grateful. That was wonderful. Also, having an online shower was so cool. It's just another suggestion, I would say, if someone is on bed rest or in the hospital for having a baby, or complications leading up to that. That was really, really cool. And one more thing is, if they have a roommate, I had a few roommates actually, and I had one in the end, and I loved her. She's so sweet. She's wonderful. And she has more kids now. I'm so jealous. It's so cool. Anyhow, if they have a roommate, please be respectful of their roommate. I mean, these people are also in a similar situation, and it can be an awkward time. Luckily, I lucked out with my last one. I mean, she was amazing. I loved her family. She's adorable. Really, really lucky. But you don't know who the roommate would be normally, right? So I remember my first one, I was like, oh God, please let her go home. She did. She went home the next day. I was so happy. But my last roommate, amazing. I loved her family. They would visit, and they were super respectful of me, and I loved it. My family loved her. I mean, and there was prayers coming in on every side. So very, very grateful for that. So those are suggestions if you're visiting someone in the hospital, or if they're on bed rest, or need any of that. Those are some things that truly helped me. If you have any suggestions or anything to add, I would love it. I know there's always more, right? Different situations, different things. So I hope that you can incorporate these, and I hope that the person that's in the hospital for you, I hope that they feel better and can do better. Wishing you love, laughter, life, and happiness, and health, and everything wonderful. Thank you.